Hello again and welcome back to The Real Review. Let's talk about Marvel's latest Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is an origin story about Dr. Stephen Strange, who is essentially a doctor. He's a very arrogant doctor. He's very full of himself, and he basically finds his identity in how awesome of a doctor he is. And he truly is a great doctor. He actually reminds me a lot of House. If you've seen Doctor House, you will see a little bit of Doctor House in Doctor Strange. So after you get introduced to Doctor Strange and you get to know him a little bit, know some of the people around him in his life, he gets into a terrible car accident and essentially loses the use of his hands. He's got like pins in every single bone in his hands, and his hands are shaking all the time, and he can't do the things that he used to. And he essentially obsesses for a long time trying to figure out different ways to fix his hands. He spends all of his money, essentially goes broke in that process in order to get back to where he was. So he ends up traveling to the Far East to actually find someone that he's heard about that can potentially fix his hands. Through that, he actually gets a lot more than what he bargained for, because he not only got the use of his hands again, but he actually starts to learn magic. He gets taught by someone called the Ancient One, who's played by Tilda Swinton, brilliantly, I might add. And he starts to learn magic to help protect the realm of Earth that they live in now. Now, it is a Marvel movie. You got to remember that. So in some way, shape, and form, even loosely a little bit, it actually connects back to all of the Avengers films and all of the other Marvel films. They even make mention of it. They say it in the trailer as much as well. They say the Avengers protect us from physical dangers, but we protect our realm, our reality from the stuff that the Avengers and all the other people in the world can't really see. Now, you may be saying to yourself, wow, this sounds like a really weird movie that I don't know if I can get behind. I think I'll just stick to watching my Iron Mans and my Captain Americas. This movie is actually pretty dang good. Marvel is well known for being able to take relatively unknown properties and making them successful, specifically referencing Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, who knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were? I had no idea, and I went into that movie being really pumped leaving the movie. I thought it was really good. I mean, they were able to make a talking raccoon seem awesome and not cheesy. What? Anyways, this movie was directed by Scott Derrickson, who did Sinister previously, and I think that actually works well for this film. It gives it more of a darker edge, a little bit more of a darker vibe. It just works. Talking about the cast, so the cast is where it's at, and I think Marvel has proven time and time again that they know how to cast a film. You have Benedict Cumberbatch, you have Tilda Swinton, you have Chiwetel Ejiofor, you have Benedict Wong. It's just Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen is great in this movie, if not underutilized, but he's still great in the film. So let's get a little bit more into the positives of this film. One is visually stunning. There is some crazy, like, next level Inception stuff happening with buildings, and they're actually having full-on battles with people while the buildings are shifting and moving, and it's crazy to look at, but it is really cool to look at the same time. I've never seen anything like it. Another positive is that it really ties into the MCU, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, nicely. It's not overdone. It's done just right. And if you're going to see this, stay through to the very end credits, because there are two post-film scenes. You have one in the mid-credits section, and you have after the very end of the credits as well. The one in the middle is my favorite. It kind of ties it into some stuff that's going to be coming up, so check it out. Another great aspect of this film is the humor in it. I actually thought it was pretty funny, but at the same time, it's kind of a negative as well, because I felt like it was maybe trying to be a little funnier than it should have been, and it should have probably focused more on the seriousness or the heft. There may have been times where they said a joke when it would have been nice to be like, oh, this is a really serious and heavy moment. There are some serious ramifications for what just happened. But he said a joke, and it kind of broke the tension, but it would have been nice to maybe not have that joke there. Another weakness of this film is something I feel like we've grown accustomed to with Marvel films, unfortunately, and that's the villain is kind of weak. And what I mean by that is the best villains in any movie is usually a villain you can actually understand to an extent. Is you could be like, wow, I understand why you're doing the things that you're doing and why you're doing the messed up stuff that you're doing, but come on. Those villains actually believe sometimes that they're actually doing the right thing. Doctor Strange doesn't really have that with Mads Mikkelsen. There is some callback to why Mads Mikkelsen's character is bad, but it's not really enough for you to care. And I can't get too much into it without getting spoilery because there's some stuff that changes at the end. But Mads does a great job himself with the material that he's given, but as a villain, it's a little bit weak. Overall, Doctor Strange, I was surprised. I really enjoyed myself. I think you'll be surprised too if you want to check it out. If you're a fan of all things Marvel, go check it out. Doctor Strange, I'm going to give a B+. So guys, have you seen Doctor Strange? Go ahead and let me know about it in the comments section below. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and remember to keep it real.